Welcome to another episode of Politics and Wellness. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and along with co-host, of course, Brother Nate in the house, we will, be presenting another fabulous Tuesday full of politics, news that we all can use, and, some lighthearted fun in the midst of all this turmoil. We don't have no clapping today because, we're just not doing that today. But it's always great to see you all on another Tuesday. Brother Nate, let me know when you're ready and we can get this party started. All right. Hey, Miss Patty Duke. Nice to see you. Always a pleasure to see you. Hey, Auntie Melissa. Nice to see you as well. And for all of you chilling in the Cap Lounge, the waiter or waitress, whichever one, you prefer, will, have your drink to you shortly. But anyway, how you doing, sir?
Doing quite well, sir. How's everybody doing this evening? Hey, Patty Duke. Hey, Melissa, girl, you funny as shit, girl. I be watching you. I can't comment because I be busy. But
right.
I be watching you.
I happen to catch the replays, but it'd be a lot going on. It's so much going on. So much going on. But how's your week been?
Yeah, cold as hell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be getting that mess soon.
Oh, I know. I can't.
Texas. Oh boy, y'all catching it down there. I hope my boy put his snow tires on this week.
They can have it and keep it because, some snow for Texas. Parts of Texas have shut down due to snow and ice storms. that they've been having, but leave it up to Governor Hot Wheels to not prepare for a natural disaster. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds like that's going to be their new normal.
that
Them actually getting the winter.
that
Yeah.
yeah. So you can forget about them. Oh, we're just gonna move down here and be summer all year round. Yeah, right.
Not summer in the dark. It would be winter in the dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Winter is here.
Yeah, just stay off them streets. Y'all don't know anything about drive. You can't drive on ice. Your job ain't worth all that. Your life ain't worth all that.
Right. Stay the hell
Stay your
inside.
ass in the house. It's not worth it.
Very true. Definitely not worth your safety at all.
Wow, 17? Girl.
Wow.
Mm.
That's
I'd have to rethink a lot of shit.
Ugh.
If it's always like, look, when it dropped down to 8 up here, I was done.
You don't even want to get out of bed to do nothing. You're just like, wherever
just
it's
laying
working,
there.
you just lay there like, I just need to stay here. So 17.
Yeah, you have that 20-minute argument whether or not to get up.
Right.
Right. If I move past the air real fast, it'll drop another 2 degrees.
Right. It'd be bad as hell if you have to get up and go to the bathroom. That's even worse.
Oh, hell yeah.
But definitely prayers out to the people in Texas. Stay safe and keep yourself indoors. For those of you who are watching and you do happen to live in the state of Texas, I don't know how great it is, as long as your governor is on four wheels.
Say it like it is, some shit. As long as the governor's on some shit.
Yeah.
Prayers up.
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, I hope everybody has had a great week thus far. And of course, we have a lot to talk about in such a little time. But as always, let's get this thing started with, of course, some news. All right. So let's start off with some news updates in regards to some news. So first, we'll go with the, I'll go back one and start with an old news update. Then I'll go into the most recent news and things. So remember some time ago, there was a militant leader by the name of Grandmaster J, not to be confused with Grandmaster J from Run DMC, but this man was a part of a black militant group, very influential in actually when Ahmaud Arbery was murdered by the Saltines down in Georgia. They literally went down there and locked the block down. They had the police scared to even go down the block. They were fully prepared for whatever, even though Florida is a carry state, and everyone in the group was licensed to carry their firearm. They had the police scared. So they've been trying to tackle this man down since every police shooting since Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. This man and his groups of hundreds of black men and women have been there, ready to protect and be there just in case a knucklehead wanted to kind of be a hero and stop a protest or do something crazy. And it looks like they got their moment when during a Breonna Taylor rally, they were, surveilling the area and looking because there were police officers on rooftops, and they were kind of, looking through the scope. And one of the officers claims that Grandmaster J was pointing his rifle at him. So he's been sentenced to prison for just this. You really can't make this up. I don't even know what to say. People can storm the Capitol, harass political officials, federal employees, pretty much at the top level, steal shit from the federal place of business, go back home, go to court, get slapped on the wrist, cry and say the president made me do it, everything's going to be okay. And they're looked at as patriots. But a black man defending his other brothers and sisters during a time which a black woman was murdered from a botched robbery, mind you, no less. And I don't care what nobody said. I honestly think they were looking to rob her because they thought that the ex-boyfriend had stashed all this money there. You know what I'm saying? Because they was tapping him for the longest time, and he kept talking about all this money he was stashing, and he was using her address.
Yeah, they were for their quick payday.
Fake information, right? And they were thinking payday or a quick lump sum, or we could take this and invest this and throw this somewhere. And then they went and they got gooped because one, she didn't have no money, and two, well, she didn't have his money or whatever they were looking for. And then two, her new boyfriend was armed and ready for it, So needless to say, while he was at this protest and this happened, there was this big uproar. He went to court. He was charged with endangering the welfare of an officer. I have no clue. And they just sentenced this man to some time in prison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 7 years plus 1 year.
Yeah. But make it make sense. This is, again, January 6th. White folks get mad because their person doesn't win and destroy the shit, and nothing happens.
Compare it to Kyle Rittenhouse, who ended two people.
You driving 3 hours, 2 hours to come to a whole nother city and town to help defend what? Murder two people and
a car lot. That's what he was defending, a car lot.
Car lot with no cars. And you get praised not only by the judge, but by everybody else. GoFundMe's and all this other stuff. I mean, now they're starting to drop him for whatever reason, but he was the golden boy. I just don't, and when we say race don't exist or race don't play a factor in none of this, you can look at it and tell this is just steaming with racism. But your thoughts on this, if any?
I pretty much just said it. Welcome to America.
Welcome to America, Jack.
Make it make sense.
Yeah,
make it make sense. But they did what they've accomplished. They tried to figure out something on this guy, the littlest thing that they could get him and take him off of the streets, because it was showing the public that we can unify and we're just as dangerous as they are. Right. And I have that feeling that unfortunately it's going to come to that. So like I said, it took them a while to get to him, but like I said, they were going to use anything that they could find to get him. But he has 7 years for one, and then he picked up another year, which he has to serve consecutively. So he's going to be out. He's going to be out for about 8 years. Now maybe they'll lessen the time. He stays on good behavior or whatever. Or somebody, if they appeal later on. But who's to say? I'm just not surprised. Not surprised. But just think about it. Here you have a teen that rolls into another state carrying a weapon, running up and down the street, and he gets away. He walks away with it. Right. Did he get a book deal? I think Kyle Rittenhouse got a book deal or something.
Yeah, well, they were talking about it, but they haven't like followed through. Yeah. They really were talking about it, but they haven't followed through. Excuse me, but that had to go cut something off real quick. But yeah, that was just crazy. Like it's like.
Yeah, Patty. I mean, yeah, we still unify. And one thing that we did learn, and this is from the civil rights era that you do not put all your hopes into one so-called leader. You need to have multiple heads, multiple sources.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing now that we've definitely learned, because as you can see, just if you look at the history of people who've been assassinated or eliminated, taken off of the streets, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that is the MO. So of course, let's get into the Memphis situation of the 6 Memphis police officers involved in the arrest, which led to the murder. I ain't gonna talk about no death because they always talk about it as if, oh, it was like an accident. No,
that was no accident.
Tyree Nichols. I don't even know what to say. We've said this so much. We've talked about this so much. And people go, well, now it's black officers. Do you feel any type of way? No, my whole thing, even with the black officers, is this. I'm taking the black part out of it. I'm just looking at the officers at this point right now, right? And go, okay, what happened to all this Blue Lives Matter bullshit and mantra that we were talking when it was white officers who were shooting unarmed black men and women? What happened to all the, where's compliance? Or what happened to the police unions standing behind these officers and the, prosecutors and the grand jury standing behind the officers? There was no wrongdoing. Nothing was done wrong. This, that, and the other. Immediately, they would jump out and say that. Then, they'd keep it under wraps for as long as they could, for months and months and months and months and months. Then you finally find out, what exactly happened. And then through all of the people wanting answers and protests, then all of a sudden you'll get, they've been indicted and all this other kind of stuff. Now, because this ain't the first time this has happened, so people act like, it's the first time it's happened. This happened so quickly. No, if you recall, a couple years back when there was a black Ethiopian police officer who shot an Australian white woman because he thought, she was a suspect or something.
I think he popped up from behind a car or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, they were looking for somebody and she popped up out of nowhere. And he shot her by accident, but killed her. They didn't waste not a breath, not a ink to paper was like finished drying by the time that man was in custody, in jail, and remained in jail until he was in court. And then he was sentenced and sent back to jail. They didn't have any time to do an investigation. No grand jury. Took months and months and months to deliberate on, what happened. Was it a mistake? Did she comply to the order? Or, any of that. It was straight to jail you go. We've had tons of cases, even with George Floyd, and you see it on video. You still had grand jury, kind of going back and forth before anything got done, where charges was actually cemented and the man was actually behind bars. And yet again, these officers who are black, but playing in an old white boys gang kind of group thing to get along. And this happens in a lot of urban areas. It happened in Baltimore. A lot of those police units that they have, they've been in jail. They're in prison right now for the corruption that they have fled throughout the city. A lot of these kind of gangs, I'll call them. I was trying to find a nice word, but these gangs to keep crime down. And no matter how you go about it, it's okay because we have your back. Because usually the person at the top of this gang is a white person. And the henchmen are those brothers that you see in Memphis doing whatever it takes to quote unquote keep the crime down. And I'm truly convinced, and this is just my theory, that since George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, a lot of these cities have implemented a lot of these task force where they'll send people that look like us out to do that work so they don't have to deal with the, oh, this is racial discrimination, look what they did, kind of pointing the finger at them. So they'll send, Tariq in them. But this is just absolutely, I just can't. Like, this is just.
Pookie got a new job.
Yeah, Pookie always looking for a job, always looking to be accepted. But a lot of this also brings this back full circle when we talk about Black on Black crime and Black people not respecting Black people enough to know their own value. And I say that because even when white officers go beyond the pale with other white assailants, they still show grace. You know what I'm saying? It's still not like they'll beat them up. There's been some cases where they've gone too far and somebody really, really got hurt. But for the most part, they won't do that type of stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will hem them up.
They still see him as human.
Yeah, right. That's because they still know that they look like them. They may not like what they're doing. They may not, you don't set a good example for the race. But at the end of the day, you share you share
your whiteness.
Right. You share my whiteness. Right. We share the same cloak of whiteness. So for that, I spare you. For that, I respect you. We don't even do that. We don't have that. And then you go into a situation where you already don't have that, right? Then you go into a culture where you're already looked at like, this is what we do. We go after them. You're kind. So if you want to be a part of us, this is what you're going to have to do. And to be so accepted, you'll go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. It just brought me like modern day Uncle Tom slavery when you had people running and telling about revolts that are possibly in the works just to catch favor with the plantation owners or not to be murdered because they're scared. It's just I don't know, and I could be reaching, but I'm just like, this is so sickening. It is so sickening to the point where, like, yeah, officers should be held accountable, but like, we need to start really paying real close attention to how we viewing each other and stop worrying so much about how they view us. We need to focus on how we view each other first, because we'll never solve that problem until we start seeing each other as human beings. Like, we start seeing our Blackness as one and not just, well, your Blackness is different from my Blackness because of your color or because who you sleep with or because like, there's so many ramifications that we utilize to separate ourselves from each other when they don't even go through that much. None of them. Like, they may not like the other person because of who they choose to sleep with or what gender they seem to conform to themselves, but they will still fall in line behind one agenda, even if it's against their own people. Look at Caitlyn Jenner. Look at, what I'm saying? All these people that you're just like, why would you do that? That's so against you, like, so against what you stand for.
And they still have that same basic respect also.
Yeah. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Your thoughts.
No, pretty much the same. They still show their basic respect for each other.
Yeah, I mean, and I haven't seen the video other than the initial encounter where it was just like, get out the car, and just yanking him out the car.
That was the patrolman's body cam.
Right.
Now the actual one that's from the street cam, totally different. It is totally different.
it takes a toll. I mean, a lot of people don't, and I guess that's why sometimes I watch a lot of the foolishness that goes on YouTube, because watching this stuff in real time takes a toll. And for years since I've been doing this and longer, I've just see this day in and day out, day in and day out. And it's like we're constantly marching. You're constantly, protesting and doing all this. And it's like, to what avail? Nothing is happening. Nothing is moving.
Well, I told you what's going to need to happen for it to be a change.
Yeah, you did.
Because the only time when you show your ass, but just be strategic when you do it.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Be strategic. I mean, it's going to be just like the school shootings.
Yeah.
It all does the same thing. We go through the same cycle over and over again. It's repeat. Everybody's outraged.
It's rinse and repeat. Literally like laundry. Rinse and repeat.
Over and over again.
It's like wash, rinse, and repeat. Wash, rinse, and repeat. It's so ridiculous at this point. It makes no sense. And then to know that they were calling them the 5, but now there's possibly 7. And one of the officers that they have the picture with, the heavyset fat guy, I'm like, okay, who was you?
I'll put him right up. Y'all can.
Where were you running? Where were you running to?
Well, he's the one that actually tased them and told them to either kick the shit out of him or stomp his ass.
Because y'all had to run and chase the man after you yanked him out of his car, told him to get down on the ground when he was already down on the ground. And I mean, it was just,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go.
No, the thing that gets me is we've heard this, the same thing time and time again.
Yeah.
And they always say, you always hear comply. Why did they comply?
Yeah.
Let me tell you why you don't comply. Because that shit hurts.
Right.
You getting stunned hurts. Somebody twisting your arm hurts.
Right.
Somebody kicking you in your head hurts. It's fight or flight.
Right.
That shit hurts. And that's the most stupidest thing I constantly hear.
Right.
Them saying, well, he should have just went. You're going to look, I'd rather die running. Straight up.
Yeah.
If I know that I'm outnumbered, my old ass ain't gonna sit there and try to fight no 5 fat boys.
Right.
If I'm 100 and he's about $150, 150 pounds. That shit hurts. And your body's response is to get away from the pain.
Right.
That's why you get that boost of adrenaline. And that motherfucker was probably burning up them goddamn streets trying to get the hell away from them.
Right.
The shit hurts. Stop. I mean, that's common sense.
Yeah.
That is just common sense there. But I get tired of people always saying, well, why don't you? Because you're going to either die with them stomping you to death. You know what's going on.
Right. You do.
And you can hear him the whole time. He's the one that's de-escalating everything. He's like, y'all doing too much.
Right.
5 of y'all on him. Where do you expect him to go? What do you expect him to do?
Right. At what point was he a risk that something was going to happen? But when he got away from you guys, then you became very angry because you had to run and chase him with your out of breath asses.
Yeah, wearing 30 pounds of shit around your waist.
So it's just absolutely ridiculous. I hear two of the officers are members, or it might have been 3, are members of Omega Sci-Fi. One happened to be a president at one point.
Now he can open the prison prison sector.
The prison chapter.
That chapter.
I really don't even know what to say. Like I said, I wasn't even concerned that they were black because although it's sad, right? Although it's sad, unfortunate, and grotesque, I already know what that is. That is clearly, you do whatever to get along, because that's, what kind of group that is. That is the white boys gang group, and you want to be a part of it. So you're going to do
Yes,
whatever.
and that's the
Don't
only thing to be included.
Yeah, don't make it right, but I already know what that is. And when you know what it is, there's no surprises there. But for the police unions and all these other places to be so quiet when any other time, but if it's a white officer, they are all over Fox News. They all support the cops. The cops get a bad name. We're out protecting, risking our lives every day. All this bullshit you hear. The minute that them blue lives happen to be dark blue, navy blue,
blue
black,
lives,
right? Blue, black, blue, purple. Them lives, them lives don't matter.
Don't matter.
Them lives don't matter. You gotta be baby blue, powder blue to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just all in a nutshell. You gotta be white to be right. Because if you're not, you're going down. And I'm sorry to say it, but these black men will pay for every white cop that has murdered
have a sacrificial lamb,
a soul that has walked away and was able to get rehired in some other state. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. They're going to throw everything they can at these men. Mm-hmm. Everything. And I was watching D.L. Hughley on The Daily Show because, they have guests now. And Ben Crump, who I commend, has been doing a great job with his speech therapist. Because in the beginning, I was worried. I was like,
you know my petty ass. That was the first thing I said. I said, "Oh shit,
right.
Therapy. Oh wow, I understand. He's
very clear,
and he's losing his accent.
Yes. So definitely somebody's got some marbles in his mouth.
Because I said kudos to him.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody must have told him. It's like, boy, his accent is what it is.
Yeah, it is, but it's hard to, when you're trying to be that person, on the police scantron, listening to the kid and running out to when these things happen, it's hard to. You got to make sure that you're speaking to the people, and everybody has to understand you because you got to.
You have a strong regional accent,
right? You not only got to talk to the people that look like you, you got to talk to the others too to convince them that what you're doing or what you're trying to go for.
But kudos to him, definitely.
Yeah, but
like I said, my petty ass. That was the first thing I said. I said, "Oh, he went to speech therapy
because he was giving me the hummer shoes." And I was like, "Oh," but yeah, definitely kudos to him for that. But I was just listening to the both of them discuss the case, and he said the same thing. It was like the George Floyds and the Breonna Taylors, police unions were beating down. I mean, they were calling. People were leaving death threats. Mm-hmm. Ain't heard a peep.
Not a thing, and you won't.
Ain't heard a peep from none of these people regarding defending these black officers. And it's like, and he was like, "Are you surprised?" And D.L. Hughley, they both laughed because some of the audience laughed because they knew what it was, and then other people didn't. They're like, "I wonder what it is," and they was doing all this, right? But it's just like we know what it is. We know exactly what it is. You can play their game with them as long as you play the game the way they want you to play it. The minute you step out of that ramification, that's it. You out on your own, and then you get to see what it feels like to be on that other side.
Real fast.
Yeah, and they're gonna witness that. I'm sorry I didn't read anybody's.
Good evening, everybody coming into the chat.
Yeah.
Patty Duke said she refused to watch it. Yeah, I limit myself, and if you notice now, what we've been doing too here is we don't show it anymore.
Yeah,
because it was taking its toll. Every time it's like, oh shit, this shit again. Because there was at one point in time, consecutively there was always something.
Yeah, it was like almost if it wasn't every week, it was every 2 weeks. There was something.
Every 2 weeks, it was something. I was like, here we go again. It's like, no, I'll watch it once, twice. and that's it. I don't watch it anymore. You know, it becomes too hard.
Yeah, and it's like we can't.
One thing I have noticed is a lot of the social media, they kind of tap down on it. They haven't been reporting a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, especially Twitter. You know how Twitter would they push all the foolishness.
Right. Now I don't know if that's Elon Musk doing or I don't know.
Is it just them just suppressing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. You know, the kind of
enough people were talking about it, but you know, when other people start talking about it, it still shows up on your feed and everything. But I haven't even been getting that. I mean, it's like business as usual. You know, stupid shit. Girl breaking the teacher's leg, fighting the teacher, and all that kind of dumb stuff. You know, so
and that's like stuff like that is just like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, these teachers are adults. So you mean to tell me you can put a gun on a teacher, but a teacher can't defend some little kid getting all up in their face?
Oh, that girl was as tall as she was. She wasn't as heavy as she was.
No, but I mean, I just get the kids at the end of like the kids at the end of the day. It's like, you know.
Oh no, not when they buck in your face.
Right.
They threaten to do you bodily harm, and somebody's just. Then they have that youth on their side.
But this is the thing. They get to do that, and they get to call you N-words until you slam them. And then it's, oh, you went too far. What do you mean?
Yeah,
first of all, the teacher is in charge of that child during that time. That's it. And that's the way it used to be. You couldn't just, wild all out and think, oh, yeah, I'm going to go home and be fine and nothing's going to happen. Not at all. Because one, you was getting the phone call if you didn't have that teacher that was like, my office right now. And I went to a black school growing up. So it was definitely like, yeah, you might want to check yourself.
Yeah, but then too, if you're the teacher and you don't have control of that situation, that sends a signal to the rest of them.
To the rest of the class.
They're going to act a fool. You will never have that respect again, and you will have lost whatever you had.
And then we go with, again, taking accountability for our own selves. As my mother used to say, and my grandmother would say all the time, it still says, it starts at home. All this stuff starts at home. Yeah, because I'll be damned if my mother got a phone call when she was trying to watch all my children or get her napping because she worked at nights, that one of us was in school acting up. That's your ass.
Showing your ass. Showing your
because you can show your ass to the classroom all you want, because you'll be showing your ass when you get home because it's about to be whipped. But there's no kind of, everybody's looking to be your child's friend or y'all equals or all this mess. And
you're not equal. You're not equal.
If you ain't paying no rent, if you ain't, you don't got no job, we're not equal.
I always told my kids, you are not equal to me and your mother. I am not equal to my parents or the ones that came before me.
Right.
You're never on that level.
No, there's always a level of respect that comes along as you grow and get older. But you never, my mother would, like you say, what my mother did not like, calling someone a liar. She despised that. Like
it was almost like cursing. I was gonna say in our house. It
was almost like cursing.
It was almost like cursing.
So even older, you were like, oh, that's a lie. It's such a lie. What? You were like, yeah, okay. Just like, all right, because it's that level there that you don't cross, and it's like it's not even there. It's not even there. Like, granted, I've been in school long enough, and you've seen students act up, but they never crossed that line. It was like, no, you knew better. Because one,
you may get a little bit of lip, and that was it.
Right.
Then they would shut up. You tell them shut up and go to the office, and then they would still just get up and go, leave out. They may not make it up to the office because they'll wander the halls, but still, it's just that level of respect.
Respect is just gone. Which is
jumping back to our who we were discussing before, the thing that I have a problem with, and I have voiced my opinion before about it, is when they have the parents of the victims, and they're calling for peace before anything else.
Right.
Let me tell you something. As a parent, I don't give a fuck about what's going on. The way I want you to feel my pain.
Right.
And I get tired of them. The first thing we need peace. We need peace. Well, you know what? The only time you should be strategic about that is save it all up for when the verdict is read and you see what the actual sentencing is.
Right.
But stop telling these parents. And I wish the only one I've ever seen do that was Philando Castile's mother. She, because I want you to feel, as a parent, I want you to feel my pain. I sat up here. Now, his mother didn't watch it. His father did.
Right.
And after seeing it, he's even too subdued. His father, you know. I mean, I can understand where you kind of have to take a step back because you have to get your family through what's going on. But I would be so fucking enraged.
Yes.
That I would get on there. I tell, burn this motherfucker from coast to coast. I want you to feel my pain.
Right.
Because this is something that could have been prevented. It's been going on for decades. For decades. And you just don't understand. Like I had said to you earlier, my feeling is the only way that we're ever going to stop this is once we come to the realization that we are in a war. Our government is
supplying, supplying and enabling.
Why are our police forces now becoming occupied military forces? This is the whole issue that they're having with the cop city down in Atlanta, where that activist
they're just having to protest,
because now they're teaching them basic urban warfare, because the United States has never done well in fighting in urban environments. You know, where you just use everything at your disposal.
Right.
You know,
never.
You know, basically, it's total warfare. If you have a
movement in Philadelphia in the 80s,
and where you're bombing, you know, you're just using regular smuggler stuff. You know, if I strap a bomb to an old lady's back and send her out there to cross the street, and some soldiers go to help her, and she takes out, you know, 5 or 6 of them, you know, you're taking them off the field. But until we come to that realization that we are in the state of war with our own country, we will always have this problem.
Yeah.
And I have one more thing. Jay-Z, you think we done kneeling yet? Stupid motherfucker. That's the first thing that popped up in my goddamn mind. That and the fact that Anita Baker was fucking up the national anthem, and I was laughing because she wasn't hitting. I don't know. I guess it was cold as shit out there. But
Anita Baker needs her. She needs her nice little, you know, glass before she can hit the stage.
Oh, okay. No, that shit just looked cold. I mean, I don't know how much she got paid, but I don't.
To me, Anita Baker has always been a quiet storm kind of glass of brandy type of So
I didn't expect her to be trying to hit them notes.
Yeah,
you know, because that's not her. That's not her thing. You know, her shit is smooth.
Yeah,
you know. So she was reaching. She was really reaching, but I wasn't mad because I'm like, fuck that national anthem.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. But the first thing I thought about was that Jay-Z remark. You know, we're past kneeling. You think we're past kneeling?
No,
you think we're past kneeling?
Nope. No, we're sure not past kneeling. We definitely past marching, but we ain't past kneeling. But speaking of what we're passing on through, speaking of this, and I'm saying this because watch, it'll start coming around to other states. Iowa Republicans, have introduced a bill that would make staples like fresh meat ineligible for the food stamp or SNAP benefits. Proposals will not affect other states yet. So
yeah, but these are fresh foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But clearly, you're trying to kill the people off. I mean, granted, if you're saying that the toxins are in the processed meats, but then you're going to limit fresh meats, even though sometimes the fresh meats are just as bad. But if you're going to eliminate the fresh meats from the program and then only subject them to processed meats, well, what are you doing? Yeah. You know exactly what you're doing.
Now, if they would have said, and which I've always agreed with, you know, like junk foods,
okay, right,
that type of thing, I have no problem with that, right, because you should be limited in what you can get. But right, then I also came to the realization in certain areas you have food deserts. People can't get to these get to these marketplaces and things like that. So they may have to go down to their corner store, local bodega, you know, that type of thing, or McDonald's. Fucking McDonald's is ridiculous. Yeah. Them prices are high as hell. Pretty much all of that stuff is high as hell, and you don't even get real meat. But you don't have to worry about that there, because I don't know what that patty is, but that patty ain't our patty. Our patty's patty.
Yes, our patty is juicy. Juicy. But yeah, I have no idea what's actually going on. I just definitely know that for those of you who do happen to use the SNAP program, just be mindful and be aware that these things could be coming down the pike. All it takes is one state to start it, and then you'll start seeing other states call for these kind of laws and cuts to different programs. Just cuts.
I know you saw your SNAP benefits buying eggs because you won't have no food.
Right. All right. Just absolutely crazy. Also, in some other news, do I want to do that one, or do I want to do? But we'll just briefly talk about it. We talked about it a little bit earlier, so we can just continue this conversation a little bit with the state of emergency that has been declared over Atlanta's Cop City protests. The declaration that Governor Kemp has allowed, calling for 1,000, Georgian National Guards to come to the city to protect it. But again, this is like over policing, and this is the part that makes all of this dangerous. You have police officers who have now been trained in tactical gear and war, right? Then you include that with the National Guard. So now you're fortifying military presence on everyday citizens who have the right to protest. But like you said, what we talked about earlier, and we talked about this months and months and almost a year ago, when they started implementing those protest laws, which allowed for people to, for people who felt in fear of a protest to do certain things and kind of get away with murder if they felt threatened or feared of their life during a protest, or if they just didn't agree with the protest, pretty much. So I wonder how all this is going to play out. It's sad that we cannot have moments of protest. Whether, every protest is not going to be as peaceful because a lot has happened. And that's the part that people seem to miss. Yes, protests, the whole protest thing is protest in peace, but so much has happened with little to no results that protesting, just kneeling or just, holding hands, singing Kumbaya in a prayer is not working.
Oh, don't forget the Kente clause and the kneeling.
Don't remind me of the Kente clause. Tomorrow we'll start the first. We'll see if the Republican Congress. We'll see if the Republican Congress will put on some Kente cloth for the first day of February for this new house.
There will probably be no mention of anything
at all for the entire month, unless Tim Scott, I guess maybe they might.
Oh yeah, Tim Scott, America's Not Racist.
Yeah. They might hoist him up, but
Patty, we're buying Popeye's chicken with EBT.
Yes. So definitely keep an eye on what's going on down there in Atlanta. And I know a lot of you instantly thought, a declaration going on in Atlanta. What's happening? Are the gays fighting? No, it's actually police.
You sure? Because they always
they
battle about.
always fighting. They always fighting. But and speaking of always fighting, black neighborhoods where people die about 20 years sooner than the rest of the country. I had to let that sink in, that there is actually neighborhoods where people die 20 years earlier than the rest of the country. Again, we talked about this, and I'm not going to go too much into it because it's almost repeating what we talked about earlier. When we are starting to value ourselves, value one another, we see ourselves in other people and vice versa. We don't have that. They talked about a city in Houston that has a high rate, a high death rate, and incarceration rate, and all these other things that play a factor in these statistics. But it is really hardcore. It hurts. I mean, to know that me being 40, that someone wouldn't even make it to be my age that looks like me, that may live in one of these cities.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. Remember, in a lot of these older cities, their homes are near power plants and chemical companies,
chemicals,
and even the rail system. When the trains come through, they're carrying toxins, chemicals, petroleum. You're coming in contact with all of that stuff. They have spills and drips and things like that. And over time, you're just in a toxic dump.
Right. Yeah. They said a black community, one of the portions of the article says the black community in Houston has a shorter life expectancy than the rest of Harris County. And people died 2 decades sooner on average. That is just ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And everything, granted, a lot of it, of course, plays a part with the systemic racism and all that. Yes. Some of that is accountability too. We have to take accountability for some of that too. Because that's crazy. That's crazy. That's kids killing kids, or, people just killing people, stealing the same stuff that, people are saving to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you stealing scraps from somebody else who has scraps. I just don't. The logic in that makes no sense to me. And for what? For what? And then we want to get all up in arms when, white police officers or police officers in general do that. We don't even value ourselves. It's like, we gotta, if you want to see the change, you gotta be the change you want to see. You have to. You have to put forth that, you have to be that beacon. Yeah, sometimes it may not be the best, maybe kind of whack, and people may not, rock with it, but you got to keep pressing. You just really got to keep pushing. But anyway, I'm sorry, your thoughts, if you had any.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
No, because I said what I already had to say, with the chemicals and everything coming through. So I'm not really surprised, especially like in your downtown areas that used to do a lot of manufacturing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Between that lead paint, stuff in
these old lead paint chips and stuff, and then the government taking forever to pay some of these victims of these lead paint poisonings and all this other kind of stuff. And then,
I think too, by them gentrifying a lot of these areas, them destroying a lot of these old people are living in these old factories and things like that they're renovating. I still think it's going to be high because they never really remove everything, and they just or they'll just plow it under.
Yeah.
And you're just living right on top. Or you're just living, right on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that would be interesting. Well, shit, we won't be here.
Yeah.
By the time,
right.
And they paid all that money to live on the dump.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you wouldn't know it. I mean, you would know it if you lived there, but the people who go in there, they don't know it. They don't know that most of the living. Oh, DC is so great. It's mostly swamp. You do know that. Yeah. All right. So, you get for what you pay for, but just do your research before you go, this place looks great. It's swampland.
Yeah. See what it used to be.
Yeah. Definitely. That's a whole new eye opener. Speaking of eye openers, Utah's governor, all these little Iowa, Utah, signed a bill banning gender reassignment or the hormone treatments and surgeries for teens, minors.
In other people's business.
I mean, at what point, it's like, make up your mind. Either you're going to say it's the parents' decision or you're going to say it's the government's decision.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? Because it seems like they want to always jump and say the parents should decide whether their children want to learn this, that, and the other. The parents should decide, and then if they don't get enough pushback from the parents saying, well, I don't mind, then they want to step in and be the person to dictate what's going to happen. I think this personally is a parent's decision. Right. I really don't understand why the government would get involved. But again,
they want to control everything, just like they want to control, women's rights,
body parts,
their own bodies. So
yeah,
that's all that is. Minding other people's business.
Yeah. So definitely just a slight to what may be leading in the future. So when I find these things, or when we definitely find these things, just pay attention that it's coming. There's something because it's in Utah that it won't make its way to your state because it is coming. And thanks to Ron DeSatan, a lot of stuff is coming down the pike because he was the poster boy to push all this stuff through. And if it got the green light and was able to push on through, they kind of utilizing how he was able to push it through. All right. Now, speaking of pushing through, here we go with Obama and Clinton yet again. And of course, there's been this big hoopla in these past couple of weeks of classified documents, right? And who's had classified documents and who didn't turn them in and who turned in what. So recently, Mike Pence has just been found out for having classified documents, and he said that he worked closely with the Department of Legal Affairs to make sure, and the archives to make sure that everything that he has is turned over. But all that time when they were talking about classified documents and Trump having classified documents for the year and change that he's had them and was supposed to turn them over, you didn't bother to check or no? Okay. So then, of course, not outdoing Trump, they found Sleepy Joe has had some classified documents too. Now, mind you, I can't tell you if Joe even knew that he had classified documents. Sometimes you don't even know which direction he's walking in. Okay, so I can't tell you if he knew that the documents he had was classified. But one thing I can tell you is the difference between all of that and Trump is that Trump knew because somebody told Trump, I'll pay you this for this, I can pay you this for this, and I'll pay you this for this, and you can get this much for that, and you get this much for this. And everything that he knew was going to get him money, he took with him.
That's right.
Because he already knew what it cost. So I said all that to say that Obama and Clinton's offices have both stated that they have already, long time ago, turned over their documents to the archives. And then I thought about it. Clinton had to, because remember, he was impeached. And he had that Monica Lewinsky shit. So he had to.
Who got that dress? I want to see that stain on that dress.
How you think they got the semen on the dress? He had to turn over everything, okay?
Can you imagine that being in the Smithsonian? And they have, you know how they have that stuff in the Smithsonian? They had the dress behind the glass.
Yes.
And they have a close-up of the stain. It's still there.
That dress looked like a paper doll dress by now. This is hard as hell. But yes. They have turned over their documents, and of course,
like wallpaper paste.
That's it. Because that's just crazy. That's just absolutely ridiculous. But I like I said, I know Clinton turned over his documents. He had to. He was under investigation, and he was impeached.
And you know, Obama turned his in because he was black.
And you already know Obama turned his in right away because he's black. And he knew that if he didn't, they were going to come for him. So he had to make sure, as we always do when we try to be, when we want to make sure, because we already know that if we don't follow through, it's going to be extra on us, that we try to make sure we follow, dot the I's and cross the T's and all that. So, kudos to them for doing that. But, I don't know. I feel like Trump got shit, and y'all just played around with him and go back and forth with, well, if you give us this document, well, we need this document. Bitch, just tell them straight out. We know you have this document. We know you've had it for this long. We know you got this document as well. We want it now, and if we don't get it, we coming to get it. Point blank, period. But that whole he's the president. We don't want to disrupt or change the balance of power or get the hell out of here. Right. All right. So quickly, we're going to talk about this last story and then get a quick move on, and then we can roll up on out of here because I know you got stuff to do, Brother Nate, and we're just going to keep this rolling. So, Oregon jury, awards $1 million to a woman who was told that I don't serve black people at a gas station. Wait a minute. You work for, maybe this person didn't know they worked for a commercial company or a commercial gas company or oil company.
I'm sure they did now since they don't have a job.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not your personal, it's not your personal gas station. You may be the personal attendee, but you're not the, you're not the owner and proprietor of said gas station. But yeah, she was awarded $1 million. Good for her. Talk about gas that pays. Talk about gas that pays. Now, I don't know if I would have been so, I'm sure she was upset, but to be calm enough to collect $1 million. Yeah, all the way to the bank. Calm enough to collect $1 million from being told that you don't serve black people. Yeah. And I'm sure she's not the only black person that was told that. And that's the part that probably scares me the most. That you let somebody tell you that they weren't going to serve you because you were black, and you really just was like, okay, I'll just go to the other gas station.
Yeah, when I first read that, I thought it was like a mom and pop operation type thing. But in some states, yeah.
You
can't pump your own gas. They have to have attendants to pump their gas. Yes. I wish they did that shit here because I'd never get out the fucking car. But
in Jersey, they do it. In Jersey,
I was going to say, we haven't done that in maybe about 20, 30 years down here.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just it would be an oddity now. I'd be afraid somebody walk up to my car, be like the Squeegee kids.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want? That type of thing. But yeah, but I do remember he lost a lot of jobs when he went to self-service.
Yeah.
And speaking of self-service, quick rant. I went to my favorite secondhand shop. You know that motherfuckers got self-service registers at the secondhand shop. I was mad as shit. I was like, what is this foolishness? What is this fuckery?
I don't know why all these stores have self-service lines, like a Walmart have all these self-service registers. But
why their pilferage rate is so high?
But you got tons of employees walking around doing absolutely nothing.
Nothing. I hate self-service. Only time I like self-service if I have like 1 or 2 items, that's fine. But if I have a whole cart and they give you that little short, especially like Walmart's, they have that little short counter space, and it's really, really short, and you don't have any. You need like an extra cart there to put your stuff in, and it's like I sit the shit all on the floor and on the. I'm like, but I was mad as shit. I was like, not the fucking Second Avenue in Columbia. All right, I was hot when I went up there. I was like, are you kidding me? I got all this shit, you know, and I'm feeling great because I only spent $20.
And then you had to be brought down real quick after all that.
And pay for the bags. God damn.
They started that down your way too.
Yep.
Yeah, keep it that way and keep it up the other way. Well, keep it up your way and down Montgomery County, DC.
They don't do plastic anymore.
Right here, right now, we don't have to pay extra for a bag unless it's like one of those, cloth carry bags or whatever.
Yeah. But shit, I'm kind of worried about walking in with a bag. You probably think I'm stealing something.
Right. Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, that is crazy. All right. So let's keep rolling and let's get into who said that. And let's go.
Who said that? Who said that? Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that?
All right. Where to start? So much has been happening. So much. So much. Now, hopefully everybody checked out my short today. For you women, make sure that is very important. So nobody, hashtag no mustard.
No mustard.
Hashtag no mustard. Hashtag no mustard, okay? So check out the short for the hashtag no mustard because we don't want, nobody smelling like Frenchies or Denny's. I didn't even know Denny's had a mustard. Well, okay. News to me. And I personally, I love spicy brown mustard. I can't even eat it. Okay? Thank you, Rob Rax. I can't even eat my damn spicy mustard because of some goddamn lady parts that smell like mustard. I can't do it. But
twangy. It's twangy. Good evening, everybody coming into the chat.
Just makes your stomach turn. But anyway, so during this whole thing, Troy Allen, Beefing 313, great guy, had a poll placed on his channel as he was doing his live during his Tracy and Rob Rack expose, and then the Red Roof Inn expose, and then the arrest expose, and all these, great tidbits. Definitely check them out. Beefing 313, definitely check them out. So he had all these exposes, and then a caller called in to basically discuss his poll, because his polling was, did he? And I'm paraphrasing, but the question was kind of like, did anyone feel that Tracy played on Rob Rack? Kind of sort of like, was he like just a trick? In other words,
it was a trick, all right.
Yeah. And the caller kind of felt that Troy was defending Rob Rack, and the person's name happened to be Nate the Great. Okay. I was literally working, and it popped across my feed, and I saw your picture, and I was like, what's Nate doing there? Usually, personally, for those of you who don't know, I would be the one to text him and be like, you got to talk me down. I'm about to do it. I'm about to go here. I'm about to do this. So to see his face there, I instantly was like, whoa, what happened? Like, wait a minute, what? So as I'm, working, I click and I'm listening for 2 seconds, and I'm going, that is not Nate. Who the fuck is that? Like, that's not Nate. So I'm like, Okay, so I'm listening to the rest of the whole thing because at this point I'm totally like, that's not Nate. Why would you think that was Nate? I don't know. Like, okay. So um so after I listened, I sent you I sent it to you. You had already watched it, and I just messaged him and was like, "That's not Nate." You know, like you know that's not Nate. He apologized. Great guy, and thank you for calling to apologize and even putting the apology in one of the messages, the comment section. Definitely appreciate it. But it's no harm, no foul. It was something honest mistake. But it was definitely.
I laughed. I wanted to see what the hell I was talking. I told you that's why I didn't pop on there because I said, let me see what I'm talking about. I done fucked up some shit now. What the hell? I said I must have took an Ambien. God damn it.
I was like, wow, I was really surprised. But yeah, and that's what it should be. Like it's no harm, no foul. Like I didn't. I just wanted to at least make sure, like whatever it wasn't. Like the Tracy situation where totally accusing you of, and it's like, wait a minute, whoa, you're not doing that. But no, he apologized, and everything's everything. But I definitely thought it was quite interesting. But he's definitely doing his thing.
I said, at least I sound decent.
Yeah. He's definitely doing his thing. Troy beefing 313. The numbers are climbing. But of course, everybody wants to kind of get in on that. That whole situation. Still sad. Sometimes we put ourselves in predicaments that, in hindsight, maybe we might, might not have done that or rethink that. But you're in them, and sometimes you do things that you may not think about the consequences when you're doing them because you don't think of the larger scale of things that may happen when you do them. But know that even on this apparatus, people are watching. Okay, so it's not just
you. If you fuck up last year and call the cops in your house and they come and snatch you out your own goddamn house, I'd leave all that. I'd leave 911 alone.
I wouldn't fuck with them at all. Like anytime you calling on somebody and you get hemmed up,
and you get hemmed up, you'll leave that shit alone. God trying to tell you something.
And if you ain't listening, he trying to tell everybody close to you, y'all better cut this shit out. So, yeah. And I really hope for that woman's sake that she is in the state of Texas, because
it's probably cold now, but
you better sit there and eat your bologna. She got enough money. I'm sure she got plenty of cash apps and stuff. She can get herself tons of bologna and other things to keep herself well fed and hibernate through these winter months, because yeah, that was an anomaly to see that different, because we've seen the real. We've seen the real, and I'm just saying.
Whoa.
So let's see. So this morning I was also listening to Read the Heart of Philadelphia, and she had a expose herself on I guess things that she was calling Phi Bay out on. I wasn't really. I was working and listening, but I was just like, wow, like I know there was one instance where, granted, we all do fall on hard times and things of that nature, and the pandemic and the lack of employment or things getting cut back has affected everybody in some way. So in no means making fun or poking fun, but I just find it funny how way back when there was a situation that drug Rebel Son into the midst of something out of nowhere, and I'm only doing it because that is my friend and nothing else. Just but when money was offered to him so he can go hang out because he didn't want to, because he only had a certain budget or whatever, and it was offered, oh, come, I'll give you, and then it was displayed on YouTube as if, oh, you didn't have no money, I had to give you money. Stuff like that is why God don't like ugly, because it may not come back to you like when you think it is, but in some form it comes back. And it's mighty funny how now in this situation, this has been presented to the rest of the world. And granted, we all may think, oh, it's small, it's just YouTube. Like, no, but it's out there. And that's just, that's just real unfortunate. Like, we shouldn't be so quick to jump on people or try to make people feel a certain way about what you think they don't have or anything of that nature when you don't really know their situations. Because when you do that, somewhere down the line, it comes back to you. And then, that kind of light is shined on you. So it's just really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. But that was all I had, I think. Yeah, that's all I had for the most part. I mean, that whole Kimmy thing and going back and forth and Kimmy with receipts. I mean, Kimmy always has receipts. I don't know. I can't call it. I can't call it. I mean, I just, it's one thing when somebody says, and from what I've learned from my own experience, people will say a lot of things because they just expect people just to believe because they said it, that it happened. But it's a whole different story when you have receipts. I mean, you can say what you want, but what is actually written and what you actually have gone back and forth in text is a whole different ball game. So, it is what it is. And as far as the $300 situation, I don't know. I mean, granted, personally, if I lent you some money and then you turned around giving $1,000 away, if I was hard pressed for the $300, I would be asking for my money back. Mm-hmm. But if I'm not pressed for my money, I'm not going to ask for it back. But I'm not going to definitely then ask for it back when we're no longer friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not something you do. But again, a lot of people do this wanting to be in or fit in. And, because you're attacking, I'm going to attack too, kind of thing. And sometimes you just got to, stand back. If that person rocks with you and you truly rock with that person, then there's no need for you to attack anybody. You're just not in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have nothing to do with it. But for this, it's like loyalty. You have to show loyalty because you have to attack who they attack. But if you ain't done nothing to me, why am I attacking you for? Like, why am I going after you if you didn't do anything to me? To prove my loyalty to whom? Someone that any moment will turn on me if I don't do what they say do. I've never been that way. Even with the situation that put me in the midst was because of that person. Not personally, but because they didn't like and they didn't understand why do you like her? Why do you go over there? Because I enjoy it. Like, it ain't got nothing to do, but what I do ain't have nothing to do with y'all. So I don't even understand how you correlate the two. I'm grown like you grown. If you going over there to do whatever, there's no reflection of me because I'm not doing that. But, this whole kind of, we grouped up together. Be your own person. Be an individual. I know a lot of people, it's hard for y'all to do that because y'all don't know nothing about being individuals and being independent and having thoughts of your own and being an independent thinker. But yeah, it really, it's an eye-opening thing to think for yourself. It really is.
All clicked up.
Yeah, unplug, bitch, unplug. It's like the Matrix. Pull that shit out the back of your neck. It's okay to have a separate thought. We don't all have to think alike. We don't all have to agree. And if you disagree with somebody, they shouldn't. If they were unplugged, they wouldn't feel like, oh, you can't trust them because they don't agree with it. They just feel like, okay, you got a difference of opinion. It's like agree to disagree. It's called adulting.
Yeah, they make it deeper than what it is.
I mean, really do. Really, really do. To the point where it's just like, how old are you? And some of y'all with kids really make me be like, whoa, y'all got children? And this is what you're teaching.
Then you wonder why the kids come out the way that they do.
You're like, there's no hope. There is no hope.
That fruit has not fallen far from the tree.
That fruit ain't even developed. Talk about falling. That fruit is delayed, okay? Just delayed fruit. Just delayed. So yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot for no reason. But again, you know, listen, as we go through this thing, yes, as people say, oh, it's for entertainment, it's entertaining, it's entertaining. It is entertaining. But at the end of the day, too, you're placing a stamp here that you can't erase, no matter how much you think you can just hit the delete button and your channel will be gone tomorrow and nobody will ever know who you are. No, they got it.
No, it is property of Google.
That's it. It's property of Google and whomever else is under Google's umbrella or whatever. It's their property. So at any moment, if you happen to, you know, one day be famous for whatever reason, and you think, oh, I deleted my YouTube, and that thing will pop back up. Look at the stars that had to talk about stuff that they put on Twitter 10, 20 years ago, and now have to explain it, you know,
lots of receipts.
Right. So they can get acting gigs or hosting gigs and things of that nature. That's real. It's real.
Yeah.
You know, you may not think about it for yourself because you don't see yourself in that light, but you don't know where you may end up. You don't know where this may take you.
I apologize for shit you said 15, 20 years ago.
Right. I was in a different place.
And knowing that we all do change.
Right.
As you know, hopefully you change.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say that. Like, hopefully. But yeah, that's really all I have. As far as shows, if you have anything to add, anything you want to say in regards to any of that before I move on.
Let's see. The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah. The Last of Us I saw. I saw episode 3. They just dropped it.
Yeah, 3. The 1619 Project.
Yes, I saw that.
Was it 6 episodes?
Yes.
They're doing? Yeah, okay. I'm on episode 3 as soon as that drops.
Okay, so 3 dropped already? That's 1 and 2.
No, I don't think it's dropped yet.
Okay.
At least when I checked Sunday, I didn't see it.
Why do I think I've seen that before? I've seen that somewhere. Where did I see that? I don't know, but when I watched it, I was like, I saw this already. Where did I see it? I mean, granted, I've read the
I read the. Which it kind of parallels, but it's more like on a
maybe that's why, because everything was just like ringing, like this is so familiar. So that's really good, and it really something to check out, especially during this month as we embark on Black History month. Always, like I like to call it, because there's more than a month that we are subject to, because we damn near built this damn thing and we were here first on the planet, period. Check your history, East Africa. But it's important. I do believe it's important. Granted, yes, they don't want you to, not even want you, but they don't want their youth and their people to know that, hey, y'all were some despicable human beings, and you continue to be. And I think that they don't want to let them see that, because then they may see that they are continuing that same cycle, that maybe we are horrible people. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, well, I mean, you know, if the shoe fits, wear it. And I'm not saying everyone is, but
because they're not, but they just don't want they don't want
inherent thing of destruction and torture and all these things that are
pretty much what they're saying that everybody else is.
Right, barbaric.
And they continue to be.
Yes. So it's really cool to kind of dive into these minds of these intellectuals and their family roots and how they woven their own family experiences into this project. That's what I like about it, because it brings a very human, realistic thing or being to the history of America, and how we all kind of have woven into this fabric of this racist quilt. Okay, but it's cool. Definitely check it out. I enjoy it. I'm gonna watch it again since I get off of here. And The Last of Us. That's really cool. It reminds me of Walking Dead, but just with like flower
things,
mushroom things. It's
that's adapted from a video game.
Yeah. I was trying to. I don't know
what's the other one? It is. What's the other one? What's the other game system?
The Nintendo 64 Wii.
No. The other big one that they $500 for. I can't. Damn, I can't fucking remember it.
You said not Xbox? Wouldn't it be Xbox?
It's not. No, it's not on Xbox. It's on.
It's PlayStation.
It's PlayStation. That's what it is. Because I think it came out maybe like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but it definitely is remnants of The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
It's like fungus, and these things come out of people's like the mouths, and then
they're like cauliflower heads or something.
Go from mustard to cauliflower. Listen, keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
Use it, wash it. It's something wrong. It's a sign. Somebody trying to tell us something. And that's for everybody, guys too. Keep your clean.
All gets spicy. All that stuff gets spicy.
Got mushrooms growing everywhere, but yeah, it's like this fungus that takes over your brain. It doesn't kill you, but it takes over your body, and then you almost like the invaders or body snatchers or whatever. Then you, when you kiss people or they get infected somehow, then it transfers and just a whole bunch of gooky mess. But it looks cool. I enjoyed it. Other than that, that's what I meant to tell you last week. I was watching this series called The Stairs on HBO Max. Definitely check it out. Very weird. Not even what I thought. It's based on a true story about a white couple in Durham, North Carolina, in the late 90s. I'm going to talk too much about it. Just watch it. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. And The Servant that I talked about some time back with Michael M. Shyamalan, the director of Sixth Sense and all those. That's back for season 2. I haven't watched it yet, so I'll be watching that probably right after this too. So I got a lot to catch up on. And that's all I got. If you got anything, sir, we can head on up out of here.
Nope, that's it. I said my piece.
Alrighty. And as always, I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to reach everybody or read everybody's. You said mustard, what you missed? Oh, it's like just check out my short about the no mustard, and of course mustard with the whole Tracy thing and Rob Brack. You gotta check out Beefin 313 for the details on that. You'll be all caught up. But everybody, enjoy your Black History Month year, Black History always and forever, as I like to call it. Have a great night. It was always a pleasure to have you guys. Sorry I didn't get to speak to everybody, but it was kind of going through this. I was in my vibe, so hold it to my head, not my heart, because it's big enough to hold everybody. But anyways, be safe, moisturize, hide your eggs away, get your toilet paper. Make sure you got water. Keep yourself on it. Go down the checklist and make sure you got it. And most of all, make sure you keep your faith strong. And until next time, beautiful Black, brown, and other people, even the ones in the box, we love you too. You're not excluded. It's just when you don't talk to the other ones outside the box, we ain't got you got to talk to your peoples. Get them in the box. Get them in the wrapper. All right. So with that, let's just good night and
good night.
Peace and enjoy the outro. Alrighty. Like here.